Mr. Javid has said he wants to see a return to normal as quickly as possible in his first day as the new Health Secretary. He replaces Matt Hancock, who resigned after Tory MPs, ministers and grassroots Conservatives defied Mr. Johnson's decision to accept his apology and called for his dismissal. It comes as footage appearing to show Mr. Hancock kissing his closest aide, Gina Colodiangelo, and therefore breaking his own COVID-19 rules in Whitehall was leaked during the week. The resignation will come as a blow to Mr. Johnson, who stood by the 42-year-old following his apology. Mr. Javid is widely considered a safe pair of hands given his previous role in government and brief spell as Chancellor. While he and Mr. Johnson had a closing working relationship, the pair locked horns on more than one occasion. One of their most contentious disagreements was on Brexit and how to deliver it. A heated instance led to Mr. Javid publicly rebuking Mr. Johnson for language he used to describe Brexit in the hands of the EU's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, and then Prime Minister Theresa May. Writing in the Mail on Sunday, he said Mrs. May had put the UK Constitution in a suicide vest and handed the detonator to Mr. Barnier. Appearing on the BBC's Andrew Marr show the same day, Mr. Javid said it was clear Mr. Johnson held different opinions to Mrs. May on Brexit. He said, "I think there are much better ways to articulate your differences. It's a reminder for all of us in public policy, whichever party we represent, to use measured language because I think that's what the public want to see." Although, he was quick to add that he did not believe Mr. Johnson was Islamophobic. Others echoed Mr. Javid's words. Then Communities Secretary James Brokenshire told Sky News' Sophie Ridge he thought Mr. Johnson had used the wrong tone in the article. He added, "I think he is wrong on this, I think the tone that he has used isn't right and I think that we just need to be very focused on actually moving forward with the Chequers plan." Dominic Cummings, Mr. Johnson's former advisor, reignited his feud with Mr. Javid on hearing his appointment, branding him an awful replacement. Mr. Cummings caused a storm in Westminster after giving damning evidence of what he claimed proved the government's complete failure to handle the pandemic, which unnecessarily cost thousands of lives. Mr. Javid resigned from his role as Chancellor last year after being told he had to sack all his advisors if he wanted to keep his job. Responding to the news, Mr. Cummings suggested in a tweet that Mr. Johnson's wife, Carrie Symonds, was responsible for getting Mr. Javid back on the front bench. He also appeared to imply that he had intentionally pushed the PM to force Mr. Javid out from his past role as Chancellor. Mr. Cummings tweeted, "Sakaria appoints Saj. NB if I hadn't tricked PM into firing Saj, we'd have had a Home Treasury with useless SOS, SPADs, no furlough scheme, total chaos instead of joint 10/11ths team which was a big success. Saj equals bog standard equals chasing headlines plus failing equals awful for NHS," Mr. Cummings said, before adding need #regime change. Number 10 has yet to comment on Mr. Cummings' tweet. In a statement announcing he had been asked to serve as Health Secretary, Mr. Javid said he looked forward to contributing to our fight against the pandemic, and serving my country from the cabinet once again.